What if the real threat to your company culture, team performance, and even bottom line isn't your competitor, but your ego? Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the quiet killers inside the boardroom. Unchecked ego and leadership, from hidden power games to status anxiety, we're asking the uncomfortable questions that can save a business or even possibly sink one. Ego clashes, unspoken status games, and emotional triggers can affect teams, poison the culture, and quietly derail, and that's something every founder, executive, and an inspiring leader needs to hear and be aware of.
Hey everybody, welcome back to episode 33 of Never in Reverse. I'm your host, Jeremy Axel, co-host, the man, Doug Cox, West Coast. What's up, Doug?
We're back.
Oh, look at that shake. Put that on the reel. Oh gosh, hey guys, don't let that move. I got some good ones of him.
Moves.
If you guys remember the bathroom dance with him, I got way better than that.
No, I was singing. You're watching me dance in the bathroom? Okay.
That'd be really interesting. You might like that.
Yeah.
No, Doug, I've got some funny college stories from him. He's got some southern, we call those Southern Oregon moves.
Yeah, unfortunately, Jeremy and we've been roommates many different times over the course of our friendship.
A little long.
Yeah, but no, it's all fun. It was fun. Moments I'd never take back.
Yeah, so welcome back, guys, though. We appreciate it. You know, how's everything been for you, Doug? How you doing?
Good. Yeah, summer's, popping right along, and yeah, just trying to...
Coming to an end.
Wow, it's weird. I remember as a kid, like 4th of July always felt like this halfway point in summer.
Yeah.
Right? You know, and then it's like you get to August 1st, and my kids are already like counting down the weeks. My youngest, she's excited to go back to school. The rest of them are like, oh, summer's, coming to a close here.
I think we got a week until school starts or something like that. It's crazy.
We've got a while. We start late.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Kids go back to school the Tuesday after Labor Day. So...
Oh, wow.
Yeah, most places around the country, they kind of start the week before, I think, Labor Day, or even 2 weeks before. Yeah.
Yeah, it's coming up, man.
But yeah.
But no, thanks everybody, though, for joining us. If you guys like the content you're hearing, please private message us, quick heads up. And then you can also subscribe, follow us on all social media platforms. Any feedback and interactions with us is all welcome. So
yeah, listen to us on Spotify, Amazon,
yeah,
Apple.
Absolutely.
We're out there.
So we've been diving into a bunch of business concepts, and what we're as we revamped kind of the structure of the podcast, we're going to dive into kind of some critical areas that we feel like we can provide a lot of value on, at least experiences that we can share that we've already gone through, et cetera. And again, we still have room to learn, right, guys? We're not perfect, and always be learning, right? As an entrepreneur, or yeah, absolutely. But
we're here to listen.
Today's episode is going to be something that I'll raise my hand up on, and it's going to be the ego and leadership, and I can relate to a lot of this, and I'll share some feedback, good and bad, on my end of things that I continually do, and bad habits and all this stuff, right? But the navigating an ego, and the clashes around that, just just roll back a second. We're going to we've been doing 3 segments in every podcast to kind of keep us organized in a way that's cohesive. So in this first segment, we're going to be talking about kind of how egos and clashes around that. And, I think, my experiences, just not in entrepreneurship, but just in business in general, man, this is something that I think is a continual issue in the way that people conduct business. And Doug, I'm just going to ask you, and what do I tell you guys, as a leader, what you can call me? What do I tell you that I can say my job role is here?
Yeah, it's
janitor, right? You can call me the janitor.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's wear all hats. There's no prides. There's no egos. There's no, where that.
I don't know about an ego, but I got some that sometimes.
Oh, let me tell you.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, the thing is in our relationship, we're not afraid to call each other out in circumstances, and I know
100%.
And I take constructive criticism as important as anything else, and I'm not, if somebody tells me I'm wrong, I'm going to listen. I want to hear their perspective, and I'm going to analyze that. And if I don't feel that, then I may express myself, in a certain fashion. But it's not, we don't run around here with badges. There's no rank
I guess it's not even that, but because I don't really care about any of that. It's kind of my way of doing things. I think from a entrepreneur standpoint is like I still have that passion, that fire, and I want everyone else to absorb that too. But it's also like, I would say that I have my ego gets in the way. Sometimes I just did this today, right? I'm doing it to people all the time. Like sometimes I get passionate, I start talking over them, and it's not to be disrespectful. It's because I'm passionate about something, or the point that I want to make is like we're not going to deflect, right? And we're not going to deflect to status quo. Like just because we've been doing it this way, if I start hearing that, I get kind of passionate, and I don't think I'm mad, but it's like, listen, no, we're not going to do that. That's dead weight. Like that might have worked a year ago or 6 months ago or something, but we're not going to keep doing that. Sorry, I got something in my face. But no, I just think that I think it's important from like an egotistical standpoint is to not allow the power struggle, but I think allowing passion and where an ego aligns with the truth, that's the important. Like when someone tells me they're an expert and they're highly passionate about it with their ego, I'm all on board. What I'm not on board with, and this is a funny position, is like when the ego has no supporting truth
Right.
and they're
You can
using the
sense it.
ego to, and they're using the ego to um,
Yeah.
overqualify the results, right? Like
Right.
they truly think that, but the back end execution of the ego isn't following suit. So like
Exactly.
the ego sometimes can't work. Sometimes it's like a protective mechanism, right? Like if your ego doesn't match the execution, I'm not on board
No.
because I'm just
And
going
you
to go
can
look at the
usually
results.
you can usually sniff those out pretty quickly. You know,
But it happens. We all do it, right? Like,
Yeah.
and that did happen recently internally. So from like the viewers and like entrepreneurs, like as you get going and your leadership skills have to elevate, like either leadership's meaning like you need to keep the team on track, you need to take critical feedback that might not be on track. I think that the crushing elements of an ego can be twisted if allowed. Viewers, if you're in this moment, I can, from my experience, honestly, that lead by example. Own what your own your end of a disruptive ego, like own it. Like allow your team to give feedback, and if their ego and execution is a positive movement, but you might be thinking something, but the truth is there, and they're passionate about that, follow it. Like just realize that you need to maybe, they've positioned well enough and they've done their homework, or they know what they're doing well enough that you got to just let them do it. It happened recently. We brought someone on, and I could tell by the email, and I'm pretty passionate about this subject, and we won't go into it, but I'm extremely passionate about it. And I know the right people in the right seat when I see them. I can hear ego and fluff, or ego and execution together. And an email came in and it was like, listen, here's the things that are disrupting. And I said, man, I'm all on board. And the feedback is thanks for supporting me. Right. So because if I'm on board, because I know the execution supports the ego, what am I?
Right.
There's nothing I can't, but when the ego and the person's conflicting against the results, I think that you can have a lot of toxic behaviors that are occurring. And in the background of that, I think everyone on this team and just in leadership and where you're heading, you have to have humility against your own ego to keep learning, because the ego is going to protect you against what you think is safe. And, no one's on the chopping block unless they're not executing here, right? Like that's my style. Like if we're executing as a unit and we're moving and it doesn't have to be perfect movement, because we're in this weird phase right now where it's like, we kind of got like, we're still trying to figure out processes, and I'm okay with a little bit of absorption of that. But when I start feeling like, listen, guys, maybe if I'm not executing or my ego's assuming something, which I do a lot, I'm assuming that they should get me. That's me. I'm going to raise my hand and say, I'm going to own that. Just because I'm leading this doesn't mean I'm perfect. Right. But
Right.
I got to own that side too, and raise my hand when I'm wrong, and give the person what they need to execute with complete position. So I think that, the ego needs to, if you're aligning with the execution and those two are in tandem, 100% the communication will be clear and I will be all on board.
Well, there's not going to be barriers. because I've been a part of organizations where their titles and egos
Oh,
they create barriers in communication, right? And I need to revert back to a comment I made here a little bit ago about no rank here. I should
yep.
say we have very open dialogue. We understand that, you're the CEO leader of this organization, and I treat that with respect. And I just want to be clear on that, but we have very open dialogue, and that's what's important. We don't
Mm-hmm.
let titles and chain of command get in the way of communication, because I've known you and I know how passionate you are. You're the same person on the football field 20 years ago in the leadership role that you played, in the secondary on the defense that you and I were a part of. That same passion and that same way that you communicated with coaches and challenged coaches is no different than the way you lead and challenge people of this team as well. So our relationship and then the way that we communicate is very open, right?
Yeah, and
And
it's not
that's
one-sided,
important. No, because I've been a part
right?
of organizations where we had a CTO, for example, and I was a GM, and he didn't have a very open door policy and was never willing to listen from other outside perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
So guess what happened? When there
Stagnant, you're
were,
stuck.
well, and then when we're trying to resolve problems,
Mm-hmm.
other people in the organization were fearful to communicate things with that individual. That isn't
Absolutely.
healthy. That is not healthy. And it's tough because some people, they wear these badges with their ego, with pride, and it just ignorant.
Know it all. They know it
Know it
all.
all. Know it all. When in fact they
No.
haven't been in the trenches. They don't
Mhm.
know this from a sales perspective. They don't know this from an engineer perspective. And that's not healthy. It's like any relationship. You have to have open dialogue. It can't be one-sided. It can't be a one-way street. We need to be able to express our thoughts, our feelings, our concerns openly as an organization, any organization, titles aside, egos aside, for the better good. And I think
Yes.
we have a great understanding of that. I mean, there are times where it's like you stand firm, I stand firm. We'll butt heads for a minute, and then we'll think about it and go, well, you're right. Well, you're right. Well, what about this? What about that? And there's an understanding, and I'm not afraid if I have no ego. I mean, there's times I may stand my ground, but if you call me out, tell me. I'm going to listen. If I'm wrong in an approach to something, I've got two ears and one mouth for a reason. I'm
Yeah,
here to
but
listen.
the thing is, we've all been part of this, and I think what happens is the entrepreneur starts an organization. He thinks he's chief of command because he wants all the freedom in the world. He goes through these cycles. He starts hiring people.
Power.
He starts delegating, and then he loses sight of the initiation of what was true. And I've kind of gone through these cycles, honestly, where I'm trying to get all of that heavy lifting off so that I can get back in the trenches with you guys, because I love that. And
Yeah.
I know I'm great at certain things up here where I can organize this to get to that point again. And we're getting closer and closer, right? And like I can already sense, we just have some organizational things to get the right people on the right seat. And that doesn't mean I know that as you massage things, you want to enhance their skill sets. You want them to be passionate again. And I had a conversation with someone on the marketing side, and I'm like, dude, I know you're not passionate about this. And so together, let's figure out how to get that so that you and I, why we aligned in the first place, we're going together, and it might not be perfect for me. It might not be perfect for you, but we get a little bit of that together because I get excited to see
Right.
someone passionate about that, right? And when I feel like there's all this red tape holding them back, I'm like, okay, I raise my hand and say, I kind of created this. I didn't put a lot of structure. I just thought I was giving support. So that's a mistake on my side. I didn't ask for permission. I just started doing it because I want to move. So owning that, is important. And I think it's, instead of saying that's just how it is, that's what you're here to do, that's not the right answer. So like as a leader, when you start evolving as an entrepreneur and you start looking, have a ton of humility, take the critical feedback right on the chin, because if you want to give it, you better be able to take it twice as bad, or just, and the safety of that. Like I want people to give me critical feedback. Like if they're not, I'm like, come on, man. Like what?
Yep.
Like, what do you think I'm stupid that I'm not perfect. Like, give it to me. Like, make
Right.
me grow. If I'm going to tell you where you stink, like, we're going to do this together, and I need the same result so that we can move in tandem to get this perfect harmonic vibration together, because then it's going to get great. I can't be great unless you make me great, and you can't be great unless I push you. So it's like this back and forth, right? And there's times that, I think a decent path down the road. So sometimes it's hard for people today to see that, but they got to trust in me that I've been there and I've done it and I've projected already, and we're going to keep moving. So we got to keep pushing, right? Like, just because we did something a certain way last year doesn't mean that we can't enhance.
Not adapt to something else or adapt in another fashion.
But we can't keep moving. I can tell you right now with where we're heading, it's just like the evolving of it. We got to slow down and just get some more structure. But, getting back to the status and targets of egos and leadership, I think it's important to don't have the title trap. That's false leader.
Yeah.
It's falsification of what we've done in this society. Peel the onion back, take your shoes off, and go look inside the house. Those people are going to interact, a lot of times, very similar to you. And if they're not, and they can elevate you as a father and a friend and all the above, follow suit. But don't let that position mislead you on how to lead the people, and lead by example. Undercover boss, prime example. It always baffles me that when that guy goes in there, he doesn't have an understanding of the truth of what's happening on the floor. That got him that. There's a massive disconnect, and he gets humble. It's humble pie, right? So I won't ever lose sight of the seeking to understand first. Show me, don't tell me. Let me see where we're going as a unit. Like, you show me what you're doing. And so, like, I'll give you an example. I just had someone on the development team. I said, listen, I want you to demo to me so I understand every person's role, the importance of their execution. I want you to show me how this got done so I can have an understanding of how you guys move as a unit, because I know it's going better, but let's show me. Let me see it. Let me see if you're not seeing the gaps in the process. Let me see if I'm not understanding things that I wasn't aware of. I want to understand, right? Like, me, Doug, I'm more like seek to understand first. But if I understand more than you, which I'm going to do my research, I always will. I will always do my research before you. Before I ask you to do something, I'm gonna make sure I fully understand something in that topic, in some sense, always.
Like any good head coach will do. I mean, I use a sports analogy a lot, because it's what I know, and a lot of it relates to business, it relates to life. But I mean, you look at a good head coach of any organization, and you look at the supporting elements and the position coaches and the coaches that they have that are in the roles and in spots they're in. Well, like a pitching coach in the MLB, right? Mm-hmm. He knows his pitchers. He knows, what their best, pitches are, where they're best to be positioned in a game, starting, reliever, whatever it may be. And that's working in cohesiveness with the head coach, right? He's bringing that information back to him. Hey, I think we need to put Tommy on the hill now to close this game out for us because we're facing two left-handers, right? Mm-hmm. So that head coach, he has trust within, his layers and depths of his assistant coaches that it all just rolls uphill. But again, it's that leadership from the top, that top down, that builds and instills trust in these others, in the depth of things, which is in a lot of the same fashion here. But you take interest in elements in these other facets, so you better know yourself internally as to what's rolling up in them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like it's an example like this. As an entrepreneur, don't come into the meeting not knowing what they're talking about and then asking egotistical questions to make them feel inferior based off your title. Don't do it. You're absolutely degrading your team and their potential investment. But there's probably times that I might come off that way, but it's maybe a flinch test to make sure that ego and that execution are aligned with the reality of 2025, not 2020. Something I learned in college. I don't really care what you learned in college because it's already outdated with the advancements of AI, right? Like, let's make sure that
you're educating yourself in the position that you're in the moment of time that we're living in, or the business state that we're in, right? So it's always that continuous education and understanding.
Yeah. So like, imagine that. Yeah, exactly. So imagine, like, sometimes I'm sure that I do this at times because maybe I haven't heard of that topic, or I haven't heard the research, or I don't know enough about it, but I'm going to flinch test with an egotistical approach of confident. Like I'm going to flinch test them. I'm going to go at that time. I'm going to go home that evening and I'm going to go seek to understand to make sure I'm in alignment, or I push them to the next side of what they might not be seeing.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I saw something a different way that does align. That was a great idea, but maybe they're thinking too small. Right. Maybe they're thinking just today when I'm thinking 3 years, like, let's think about what that looks like if this happens.
Not, it's like a coach's game plan. It's like a coach's game plan. A coach is not, Bill Belichick went and played the Jets. They lost to the Jets. Do you think next time he plays the Jets, he's going to go on with the same game plan? No, he's not.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
You're always adapting. You're adapting. You're adapting. It's no different in business. I mean, we're doing the same things with the times and the elements that we're in, and that's a forward focus in the moment.
Yeah, so
still forward focus.
So if you take the whole general idea of like the ego and leadership, and the leadership, like it can literally paralyze in a complete infrastructure. I've been in it. I had the ego killer. I had very small infrastructure, a top level, middle level, bottom level. Doug and I know, like, I will support whose team at the highest level. What team will I support, Doug, and why? Sales team, right? There is no questions asked. We're the engine, and I will support that no matter what is at top. Even if you could put a CFO in here, and literally the voice of that CEO will have less to me than the people that are on the street, because that person can analyze data or whatever they want. So and that person's ego of that leadership position doesn't truly understand what's happening at the level that I would, and it would never happen here. But my point is I'm always going to seek to understand on the bottom before if we ever even have that.
Yeah, but you spend time in the trenches. You're not the general on the hill, right? You're down on the front line, and you involve yourself on the front line, and you don't see that in a lot of wake of, organizations and corporations. There's these people like to stand on the hill and lead, and I've always been much like you, even when I've held sales managers roles, general managers roles. I was never better than the technician that went and did the install. Many times I stepped in when we were shorthanded. I would step in and help the technician, so we could fulfill what needed to be fulfilled, A, for the customer, but B, because in a leadership position, they're going to have more respect for me, that I'm going to jump in with them and roll my sleeves up, and I have an understanding. So if I challenge them, they know I know the answers as well too.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a different way of leading. And I think you and I are cut out of that same cloth. It's not an ego. We're not here to sit on our high horse up on the hill and give direction. It's like, no, I want to be down on the front lines. I want to know what's going on. I want to be involved. I want to be a part of it. So
not bad, not to micromanage, and that's there's a disconnect. So
that we can make better decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But I think the thing for me is like, it's also like,
that's no
man,
ego.
let's, and the thing is sometimes there's skill sets, and the ego, like, I think like you can be, the silent killer is the ego that is a general on the hill with no understanding of the reality below. I think that's the worst thing that can happen. I mean, or the fake unauthentic leadership, which you've gone through, where they tell you what you want to hear, and then you hear them in the back room, and it's conflicting, and we'll never do this. And exactly. I mean, all the things that happen, if I hear something in here, they're going to get it right on the chin. It's in a moment's notice. I'm calling. We're going to hit on the chin, and we're going to get through it. We're not going to absorb these political or perspectives that might be a voice of unreasonable connection to a team. We're going to get through the hard times together, whether it's in my favor or theirs.
Yep.
We're going to probably find a common ground pretty quick. And then guess what happens when you do that? It all goes away. And you typically, that moment is so short-lived. The moment that you let that creep of I would say that, employee awareness or safety, where they can't have a voice of reason, I want people to push me. And if they're not, I'm going to go back in. I'm going to start pushing on them until they start elevating their game to push on me to get where we're going to go, together, right? Like, if I don't feel like someone's pushing on me, I'm like, man, we're not growing because I'm not pushing hard enough.
The best way to get the most out of somebody is to involve yourself with them. and be a part of it with them. And you'll see, and I've done it time and time again, and I've seen where, you want to get there's potential hidden in there and you're trying to get more of them. You involve yourself with them and watch what happens.
With them.
And then get the level of respect that you'll have and the trust that you'll have. It's endless. But so guys, as you disconnect that and you give and you just push and push and push, guess what it's met with? Resistance.
Exactly. So guys, as we wind this episode down, we're going to leave you guys with just some critical things to think about. So, egotistical leaders with no support, involve yourself, make sure there's a safe environment that's holistic. I think that's important, like employee safety, where the voice of reason is open. Don't give the critical feedback without allowing it to come back. Right. Like, and I think that's such an important thing. I'll fight tooth and nail to advance, and sometimes it's probably not perfect, but if I know I'm right and I've done my research, you better come with a book ready to go that you've done. Like, we're going to go together, but if it's like at the end of the day, the end result is going to move us and it's going to advance and we're going to push, right? So that to me is like this perfect cohesiveness, but don't lead with an ego that's not seeking to understand. I think is super important. Make sure your employees have both. It's a two-way street to grow both ways. If you don't feel like you can grow, then I don't know why you have employees, right? Because they should be better than you to elevate your game. So keep pushing on both sides to find, I would say, a positive cohesion around egos that are working together, because we're always going to fight that battle. But if we find a common ground that's working together instead of conflicting because of fear of lack of safety, because every time they've seen that happen, you fire that person. So now there's this, and they're not going to feel safe to go at that, to make sure you advance. So you got to be careful as a leader of what that looks like to your team. So my advice is leave an open game and be ready for an internal war at times that's going to advance you to get to the greatest place you can ever get, and be willing to absorb critical feedback, right? Exactly. And take it on the chin, and don't let the back end de-support the team. Don't let bureaucratic things happen. Layers of titles create forced down management on people that they feel like they're less than. All those things, right? We're keep that cohesive unit. And if you feel that toxic behavior, and just cut it off. Don't even let that absorb into your culture. Just get rid of it faster than it came in. So yeah, I think leading with that, I just think always review and do a health check. Maybe go down to someone on your team, be like, hey man, give me direct feedback of me. Do you feel safe? Does it feel like you're on the same side as the fence as me? Do you want the same things do you feel like you can support me in this journey? Do you feel like you just throw things at me all the time and don't give any supporting tools? Yeah. I mean, our
working for
some of our
good of this organization.
Every time someone on our team comes to me, Doug, and asks for something, do you think I'm like, nah, it's not in the budget?
No.
What is it?
Like,
What is it? How fast?
Give me reason. If you think you need it, go get it.
How fast? How fast does it happen?
No, we don't question.
Why? Because I know if I hinder their ability to make good decisions for where they need to get, now I'm not going to do it every single time.
Layers of trust and understanding, and I mean,
but there's not always trust. It's not always proof in the pudding, right? But what it does for me, it's also
something and tools for the job. It's like, don't ask, get it. If it's going to make you
but it's also
get it.
But then it's also now I'm going to go. Now it gives me yours and go. Now show me.
Yeah.
Show me why you're doing it. Now let's see what you're doing with it. Right? Like I bought a lot of shiny objects, but I just think overall as an entrepreneur or leader, or wherever you're heading, leave your ego together and find how both sides of the party and as a unit, your egos can work in a direction of movement forward together. And and that's by not creating a safe environment, creating an environment that pushes the ego to greatness.
Challenging
on both sides together. Like, hey, I acknowledge that you have weaknesses here. I'm strong here, but you're really good at this. Let's figure out how to make them work together to move. So that's the biggest takeaway I hope you guys get. Thank you for joining us on this episode 33 on Never in Reverse. Like, subscribe, YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, Amazon.
Feedback. Send us some messages.
All of them.
Let us
private
know what
message
works for you.
Send us a PM, guys. We would love to entertain your guys' feedback, how we can help maybe give you guys some feedback of where
Yeah, or just
you might
ideas
be
or things
struggling.
that have worked for you too. We're open. ears.
Absolutely.
We're always here to
So
learn.
until next time, guys, I'm your host, Jeremy Axel, co-host, The Man, Doug Cox.
The main title.
Have a wonderful day, guys. Appreciate you.
Thanks again.
Thanks.